Hey guys, welcome back to Riffs and Gigs. Today I'm here with most of Scarlet Envy.
Evening.
Good
Howdy,
evening.
howdy.
Hello.
So obviously we caught up briefly with your previous new single, Resurrection, kind of signifying this start of this new sort of era for the band. But since then, you've released another track, haven't you?
We have.
Have indeed. In fact, I think you were there for the video.
I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, you're in
Yeah,
it, yeah.
I am. Blink and you
Looking
miss
very
it.
dapper.
Thank you muchly. Doing some really top tier dancing.
With
With
my
Lee's
wife.
wife.
So yeah, so kind of going from Resurrection to obviously the new track Masquerade. What's happened between then?
So we did a gig just this past Thursday at the 6-6, haven't we?
Cambridge, yeah.
Yeah, so we've played Cambridge. We've really just been writing and working on the new songs for the album. We're hoping to get into the studio soon. We're basically at the point where we need to get Lee in to do the drums. We're just sort of getting all the guide tracks in place at the moment.
Yeah. The main priority is basically drum tracking because a lot of the guitar bass work is primarily done. Maybe three or four tracks are not completely done, but the guide,
The guides
the
are
guides are done.
there, yeah.
So as soon as we can lock in the drums, we'll finish the guitars,
We'll get
get
the
you the
vocals
vocals,
done, yeah.
and then yeah, release. But we've got, is it two more singles?
Uh, well, we've got, yeah, the plan is to do two more singles off of the album. And then obviously once that last single's been released, the album will follow very shortly. So we don't have an actual physical date. We've had a conversation about when we would like it to come out. We've got an idea. But obviously we don't want to commit to anything in stone because stuff happens. But yeah, we've got a good plan.
Yeah.
We know what we want to do. It's just getting these dates booked in now for, like I said, Lee, get him in the studio. And then it's just down to, well, me to get a wiggle on and record all the tracks
Yeah.
vocally. And then Dan will produce them because Dan produces the tracks. He mixes, masters the whole shebang. So it's all done pretty much in-house.
I guess kind of does that make it easier or more difficult doing it all in house?
It's a bit of both because it is first time for Dan doing it, so it's quite literally trial by fire. He's literally learning things. He's speaking to other producers, bouncing it back off people, trying to get their input. I mean, from a positive side, it is good because we are in control that I can sit here in an evening and record guitars or on a weekend. I don't have to worry about, okay, I have 4 hours to get what, like 8 tracks
Yeah, that's
done.
unfortunately that's Lee has to deal with that.
Yeah.
He's going to be live doing
Yeah.
that over the drum.
Yeah, that's the problem when you're really picky about the drum sounds and things like that. I'd love to have been able to also do it in house, but also I find the pressure of being in the studio and having that time frame, it gets the best out of you because the way that this album's being worked, it's really different for me because I've never done things like, oh, here's a track, here's this, here's that, and or like here's a bit of a track and where do we go? So it's kind of sometimes it's difficult to portray ideas when you're not all in the same room. So obviously we have rehearsal time as well. So there's that fitting that in as well to try and really polish out the bits. But obviously when you're because I demo the drums on an electric kit, but obviously that doesn't quite give the things that we want. Because obviously, I mean, you've seen us play. I like to play with all the different tones of the cymbals, which you don't get on an electric kit unless you get like this really fancy thing, which I ain't paying for. But so it's good. But then also with the added pressure of being in the studio, you kind of get the best part of it comes out. So obviously with the takes that we done um, for the two singles that have been released already, there a lot of that was very much sort of on the fly kind of thinking as well. So that kind of gets the best out as well. But yeah, like Mike said, it's good because we've really got some time to iron everything out, all these little creases and stuff, or anything we're not quite sure of. We've got time to make sure that the guitars and everything are just exactly what we want, as opposed to being like, oh well, that's that. Then we could have done better, but time constraints. So this way, hopefully, what you get will be like the best stuff that these guys have done.
Oh, and yourself.
Well, yeah. But I just play the drums. I don't write the words and make all the pretty guitar sounds. I just smash things in the background. So
You just hit things, make noise.
Yeah, pretty much.
So backtracking a little bit, obviously you talked about Dan producing, mixing it all. Obviously Dan isn't here at the moment, as he's also Dan isn't here at the moment, and he's also the bassist. So just kind of just introduce yourselves and kind of what role you play in the band.
Right. So I'm Kim, and I'm the vocalist, and I also write the lyrics. So I guess my job is to sort of be the front person, as it were, and just that's me.
That's you.
That's me.
Tell the stories, the tales.
What tales do you want to hear? There's probably lots of tales.
Uh,
Ones that he can hit things to,
yeah.
Yeah,
Make the
so
smashies.
my role is to tell, I guess, a story. Lyrically, it's usually something that is either something I'm going through, something I've seen. They're always from the heart. They always have a deeper meaning. So what you will get with the songs is hopefully something you'll resonate with to one degree or another. So what I'm saying, what I'm singing, it doesn't necessarily have to mean what it means to me. I want people to go away and go, this is how this makes me feel, or how I interpret this. So I don't know, my job's to give people a feeling. Don't take that the wrong way.
I think I was going to until you added that last bit at the end, and I'm just
I
kind
can
of
see
like,
Lee in the corner just like, ah.
All the tingly feelings. Go on then, Michael.
Okay, so I am Mike, aka Archangel. I am the string wizard, and I also do backing vocals, which is basically just grunt and shout. It's nothing fancy to it. Yeah. And I stand there headbanging.
The occasional ooh.
I do an
There
ooh,
is a song with an ooh in
and I
it.
do an R. I do an R. Yeah. But yeah, I'm one part of the string section that
You do social media as well.
I do. Yeah, I do social media.
You
He's
do like 90% of it now.
I'm content creator.
You
right?
are now.
Mate, the
Very
content
crudely.
lord.
Very crudely content creating. Yeah.
You're the only one with patience to do it, my love.
Yeah. Not very well, but
No,
get it done.
and do you also give people a feeling?
I hope
Oh,
I
he-
do.
He gives me a feeling.
I mean, when I slide up and down that neck weight. Yep.
Oh.
Moving swiftly on.
Yeah, moving swiftly to stop us picturing anything.
Yeah. The
So-
feeling.
It's already happened.
Basically, the adult person that's in the band isn't here today. The youngest member is the most sensible, and he's missing. So
Yeah.
And that's what happens if this goes off the rails and this happens.
yeah,
We'll just blame Dan.
Awesome, mysterious fifth member.
fifth.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome! I thought you said awesome, mysterious fifth member. I'm like, yeah. Dan equates the two. He does play synth and bass.
Yeah.
And he also does backing vocals.
He does, yeah.
It does.
Does he also just do grunts and growls?
He does screams.
They're adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the screams and the growls.
And the thunderous low end.
Yeah,
That's just
that's just the bass.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, and he does the sample buttons.
yep.
He's the
Oh,
button presser.
He makes all of our noisy noises, our intros,
yeah.
all the synthy bits. He creates them. Obviously, he's producing.
Yeah.
Very well, I might add, from the two songs that we've done so far.
Yeah.
I was going to say with those two songs, you'd have no idea that they're all done in house and produced by someone that's not really done production before. So I
Mission
think
accomplished.
I think that's where a lot of the genre is heading. You've got a lot of more bands doing it all themselves. Kind of, it's cheaper for starters.
Yeah.
But like you said, kind of recording the drums in the studio, that's mainly down to preference, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I say, I do some bits. I've always liked the different sounds you get from the kit itself and the cymbals as well. So I like to play around with those, and I just like a little, as you've seen my setup yourself, like it's quite the array of sounds. So I like to sort of play around with them a little bit. It's my interest in prog. That's what does that.
All the various symbols and the sounds and the
Exactly. Yeah.
you might just hit stuff, but you
Yeah.
hit them in the right order and it sounds good. So
But he's also our set dresser. He's
Oh, yeah.
created stuff for our stage stuff. So creative, not just
Yeah.
a drummer.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah, I'm a bit sort of the ideas guy. Some of them good, some of them not so good with stage and stuff. I think like yeah, just random little ideas that popped in my head. I just bring them to the guys. Like, what do you think if we did this? And they'd be like, yeah, that's great. Or are you mental? Like, yes.
what are some of the ideas, or if you can remember any of them, that the rest of the guys were just like, what? Have you had any like ridiculously out there ideas?
Probably a fire.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know if I've had any. If I have, then they got shot down so hard that I care not to remember them because it might just bring back some bad memory. No, I don't think there's been anything too silly. Obviously, because obviously when I came into the band, they're already like established, so I didn't really want to sort of upset the way things are. I'd make some suggestions, but it felt a bit weird at first. It's like, not to be cheeky, but have you ever considered doing this and doing that? And it's just sort of like, no, we haven't really. And sometimes it would be a case they'd go away and have a think and then maybe go, actually, do you know what? But I don't think there's been anything completely stupidly ridiculous that's been shot down, really.
Not yet, anyway.
Probably
Not
stuff
yet.
that we just can't afford more than anything.
I think it has definitely been a sort of like, how cool is this?
Yes,
actually amazing. But have you seen
how
the flag right there?
Yeah, we can't afford it. How are we going to transport it?
Those are the questions you worry about after buying it.
Well, that's a guitar player's logic. That
I'm not even going to disagree.
No,
it's the same logic you apply to buying gig tickets before figuring out how you're going to get there. It's just.
See, I can't cope with that. I need to know how I'm getting there. Like what we're gonna, where is it, when, what time, what we're gonna do when we get there. Like, who am I going with? Can I get home? Where can I park?
And initially, I'm not like that, but the closer I get to the gig, I'm like, I need to figure this out. And I'm off to the O2 end of May for Baby Metal, and luckily at that one, my partner's coming with me who can navigate trains perfectly. So I'm just like, where are we going? And she's just like, oh, we'll just do this. So we balance each other out when it comes to figuring out how to get there, at least. So that's part of the problem solved.
Excellent. There's always an organised one in the couple, isn't there?
Just a slow head turn. There's always an organised one, and sometimes there's neither of us.
That's my idea of chaos, man.
Well, I am the chaos demon.
You are a bloody chaos demon. He made spaghetti in the fucking kitchens covered in sauce. Like, fuck, did you do that?
The ceilings, the walls.
Yeah, so you're supposed to put the lid on the blender before you turn it on, man.
Is that what you do? Oh shit!
It was only serving it up.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, for God's sake, that makes it worse. Let's talk about music. No, we're on to the section with Mike's recipes now.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to cut the onion really finely and then
but not
I mean,
yourself.
it
What do you
can't
mean?
be. It can't be any worse. This has happened on 2 occasions now. My partner's had a bowl of like spaghetti in a colander or something. Went to drain it. Nope, spaghetti decided to come out as well into the sink.
Oh yeah, you got to use the right colander, people.
Yeah.
You can't have the
So
ones with the big holes because the spaghetti falls through, so you need to get one that has a little holes. Just, life advice.
That's the one thing that could be actually taken away from this
Yeah,
video
is
is
use the right colander.
have the right holes. It's
Oh God.
back to
Oh,
music. Back to music.
yes.
So obviously, you mentioned Kim. You do a lot of like the lyrics and the stories and the writing side of things. What I thought was really interesting with you two recent singles, Resurrection and Masquerade, was there was that ongoing story, almost like an origin story for the band in that sense. Was that something you had in mind when writing the songs, or was that a discussion that came
No.
up more when it came to making
That
the
was kind
video?
of a happy coincidence, really. And that was just coming from these were the first two singles. It was originally meant to be a trilogy, because we sort of had a discussion about the video, and Lee had an idea, and he was like, okay, well, what about this? And then as we were talking, it sort of transpired into a three-part arc, but we didn't have another song to make that three-part, so we kind of just agreed, okay, so we can do this in two parts. And we didn't have a backstory originally, but when Ellie started, she sat us down. This is the girl that did the recording and the editing of the video. And she went, yeah, but why are you doing this? What's your backstory? So we basically came up with an entire backstory of where SKARLET come from. Why has she got these powers? Why are these guys the dead crew? What's happening here, here, and here? To which is why we ended up then with Resurrection, and then how that would then go into Masquerade. So you've obviously in Resurrection, the story being is these guys, my guys, we were a band back in like the 1920s?
20s. In
And
the 20s.
yeah, it was 1924. And basically we were like a traveling group of like a freak circus, say. We were musicians and
These guys.
yeah, so this is us back in 1924. And our theatre, obviously not this doesn't come through in all the video, but the backstory is our theatre was burnt down and the guys all died. SKARLET didn't die because she'd been given a ring by the guys. It was as a present. It turned out to have powers. That when she was in the fire, it gave her these powers, which she then spent 100 years looking for suitable vessels for the souls of her boys to bring them back, which she then found. When she found them, they had a new vocalist, which was played by Dave. She kind of used her magic, manipulated him into like a bit of a servant who helped her kidnap the guys, put them in, as you saw, like the little hall that we were in. There was an exchange of, so the old souls came into the new bodies, and then Masquerade is kind of that continuation of they don't know who they are because they've got that, they've been dead 100 years, they don't know who they are anymore. But towards the end of Masquerade, they are who they are now. They're their characters. The masks are off. They know who they are. They know that they're the souls from gone by. And we're a band again. We're together. We're a unit and solid as we're meant to be.
Yeah.
So that sort of created the backstory, as we say. Obviously, there's a lot more in depth than that, but you haven't got all night for us to explain that.
It was interesting when conceptualizing the video. Obviously, I've known these guys for a while, so before I joined the band, obviously, I had the question that I suppose many people had, which is why the face paint. Like I always got that there was supposed to be a narrative to this band. There was always supposed to be a story, but it was a weird one because they never really, and even when I joined, it was just a thing that happened. It was just, there's, so the idea I basically said to them with the video is, why don't we make, like Kim said originally, a three-part mini film, so have each bit fall into the other, that kind of explains the origins of the band a bit more, to actually get that point across. So hopefully that kind of got people to understand it. Obviously, you know, with SKARLET painting our faces and you know, sort of recreating us in her image and stuff like that. Hopefully that sort of answered that question as to why, because obviously we're all the Dead crew, so we don't really have much of a choice. It's like this is what she did, so this is what we do, you know, and stuff like that. And because yeah, like Kim said, that none of that stuff seemed to really be thought of, and then Ellie came in and absolutely tortured us for about 4 hours over pizza and not coffee, and eventually we kind of got this story there. So I think it was quite nice to sort of sit back and really sort of think about it, and obviously the possibilities of what we can do with that visually going forwards. So hopefully there'll be some other cool stuff that we can do in the future, and who knows, we may even see a third part to the story, as it were.
Leaving a little bit of teaser dangling just in front. And I guess you mentioned, Kim, that there's a lot that you might not have been able to get into those videos. Will we ever see kind of like a written version of the story or some other?
So I don't know if you remember this, but I basically turned around to Mike as we were filming the video, and I looked at him and went, "I'm not going to say this to anyone because I don't know if I could bring it to fruition. I would like to write a book, an accompaniment, but I don't want to promise or say I'm going to do it in case it doesn't come into fruition."
Yeah.
But yeah, because I was thinking there's a lot there that could be a companion guide. I just thought if I say it, I'm going to have to do it. And
we often joked. I think it was Dan's dad that said we should do like a comic book or something like that,
Yeah.
something that's visual with a story. As cool as that would be, again, financially, I don't know how feasible that would be.
It might transpire one day, maybe like a small little self-published book that I could write to go with Resurrection and Masquerade. I mean, we always joke that we'd love to do a lot of stuff. We say, oh, a line of pedals, a line of clothes, a line of makeup, a line of shoes, a line of perfume, a line of and we joke all the time. We're like, we could brand that, SKARLET that, but
just have the SKARLET Envy logo printed on a toaster. You know,
we'll blow George Foreman out of the water and have some of those fat reducing grilling machines.
And you're worried about affording comic books.
Yeah, well, you know.
But yeah, I mean, even if it's just some like online short form written something accompanying, you know, there's I think the good thing is there's lots of ways to do something like that. Kind of properly go down the Gothic literature style, because I think that's one thing that does stand out with not only the music but your guys' stage presence as well. You know, you've got that look, you've got that aesthetic. Are there any key influences behind that?
Well, we've got. I think the thing between us, we all have really different influences, which kind of comes across in our music. I think, sort of like all of us, I think, are really on different scales, aren't we? Of where we sit with metal and rock and various things.
It all gets sort of blended together.
Yeah.
And that is, see, it's a hard one because we've struggled for a long time of where do we sit? What do we like? Where are we in the genre of? For a long time, we were alt metal.
We put ourselves there. We got told off for that by a friend who said, "Oh, this is just kind of."
That's a cop out.
It's a cop out. So we did a bit of research and the bands that we're sort of like and our aesthetic, and because obviously for us horror and all that is quite a big influence. And theatre and theatrical, and so we landed on Gothic metal because it kind of fit the aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean you've got bands like, ironically, in one of the reviews earlier, bands like New Year's Day, I mean Lacuna Coil, we're on that same sort of line, and we just thought, well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
but it's hard. We've always found it difficult to put ourselves in one of these boxes.
Yeah.
Which people really, really want you to put yourself into. So we went for the goth box.
We did, and you know,
it fits.
It does, and it worked.
Because it's it's far too easy just saying, "Oh, we're metal."
It would
that's
be
not
easier,
enough.
yeah,
Clearly.
but you have to sort of sub genre everything.
Yeah.
So
I think like the goth one, it does tick the box. The music, the aesthetic, it all kind of comes together really nicely. And I think that story that you've got in those 2 music videos reflects that really well. So you've managed to really tightly keep the whole image together, which is really cool to see. There's both someone that's kind of was listening to your stuff before the resurrection and after. You've got that cohesion, which is really nice to see.
I mean, this album we've already spoken about. It's going to be a lot darker than previous. The content of the songs, the music itself is a little bit more, I would say, towards the gothy kind of theatrical. It is darker. This one is more moody.
It's pushing boundaries in regards to like our playing and like what we are doing. I mean, for me, guitar wise, I'm trying to play solos that are beyond my sort of comfort level, that is making me actually trying to improve as a player and do stuff that I'm not doing in general. So
we're not trying to be comfortable. We're trying to make this right. It's just why it's taken a long time, because we don't just want to go, here you go, here's an album.
Settle and just
what we want is something really good, and people can go, fuck me, that's a good good album's a good follow-up. Lee's got his stamp on it. That's what we want. We want it to be like, boom, there you go.
I mean, that's the other aspect, is I've been playing with Lee for a long, long time.
Phrasing.
We've known each other for a long, long time, and we've worked together, and we know how each other work and how to get kind of the best out of each other. And that's probably also helping within this next album, because he's able to go, I see what you're doing. Have you thought about this? And then you go, yeah, no, I didn't actually. No.
It's
Let's
nice
give it a go.
because everyone is creatively involved. We all say to each other, oh, why don't you do this? Try this. Oh, this isn't working. Let's not throw it in the bin. Let's rewrite it. Let's make it work. Let's fix this instead of just gonna.
Yeah, I mean, there are some of them we have had to sort of put to one side to be like, look, this isn't just working at the minute. Let's not throw it away, but let's come back to it with fresh eyes and just see what we need to change it. So I think that's, again, what you said earlier, with doing it all yourself. That's what's handy with being able to record stuff yourself, is you're able to do what you need to do and then send it back and forth to be like, look, what about this? What about
and
this?
The beauty of it, Dan, producing it, he knows how the song is supposed to sound.
Yeah.
And being a part of it, he knows how he wants it to sound as well.
Yeah.
So it's like he knows those songs inside and out, whereas a producer, I guess, to a degree, you just sort of have to take it at a certain point, don't you? Because you're like, if I keep passing this back and forth, this is going to cost thousands and thousands of pounds for this one edit.
I mean, he also, again, the beauty of it is I bombard him with loads of tracks in regards to, I'm sending him at least 2 tone tracks and a DI track of everything and going, right, what do you want? Blend it all together, and with my DI track, if you want to chuck on another tone, all right, let's do it. So I've got at least 3 tones worth, and he knows my tone, he knows what I like, and he is also,
and I'll tell you if it's shit.
He does, he will, bless him.
No, but it's good because he knows what he wants out of you, and you get it.
And I mean, that is the thing, is I'm listening back to this and I'm actually really happy from not just the song, just the sound. Especially for me as a guitar player, listening to my tone, I'm actually like really happy with how it's coming across, because I'm like, this is what I want it to sound like. Whereas when you've got a producer, they're, to a degree, they're like, I've reamped it, and what do you think of this? And you're kind of like, that's really good.
How am I going to get those tones live if I'm using your gear?
Well, there's that as well,
I guess you're saving yourself like 300 odd quid by not worrying about having to go overtime in the studio. It's that bit more relaxed.
Yeah, well, it's like Mike said, it's great because you can take parts of it. So, funnily enough, there's a track we're working on at the moment, and I bet they all hate me for this. So we were playing the song through, and there's this bit there, and then suddenly my brain kicks into gear, and instead of doing what we've already demoed, I've now added to it because I'm like, this would be cool. So then we start doing that. So now it's a case of right. So that lovely, basically done guitar track stuff that we've done now has to be added to. But this is what I mean. Mike, like Mike said, we've played going back 10 years or something silly now.
Yeah, it's
Like,
10
you know,
years this year,
we were still in nappies back then, not because we were young, but because, you know, we had problems and all that, you know. But like, so he knows how I work. Like, it's weird. My brain works more in the moment. Like when you're actually playing the song and hearing it live, my mind goes off on one. So I will literally add little bits, much to, I'm sure, people's annoyances. I won't apologize, especially if people like it. If people hate it, then I still won't apologize, but you know, if they go, that's really good, that bit, I'll be like, yeah, I know, right? But so, you know, this is, well, it's weird, like I say, going back earlier on, I was very much used to writing and jamming and stuff like that and getting the feel for stuff live. And I think that's part of, there's been certain tracks where they sounded really good live, but they didn't quite come across how they felt live on an album. And so it's like Mike was saying, it's coming back to that at another point where we can get it to sound both great on a recording as well as live.
Yes, it's just kind of getting that best sound and getting that best product at the end of the day, which hopefully all of your upcoming stuff that you've got will tick those boxes.
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, if not, blame Dan.
I mean, you know, Resurrection and Masquerade are off to a great start. You know, if a full album is like that darker tone, that's something that I'd happily listen to on repeat.
And then we've decided album 3 is going to be like some happy, hopefully.
We're going to go down the K-pop route and wear like glittery outfits and stuff.
You already wear glittery outfits. You've got a lovely glittery shirt that you like to wear.
I know, it was lovely. I've only worn it
very
once.
Nice, quite dapper.
I'll wear it more often since it's got the stamp of approval.
Wear it more often. It suits you.
No, it does suit him. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Feel. I'll be like the Elton John of the band. Glittery and fabulous.
Oh,
well, I've got the same hair as Elton. I mean, yeah.
I was going to say, apart from the fact you don't play piano, but you know, you could do.
I might.
You might.
I don't, but I might. I could.
Album 3 will just be Lee in a piano for 30 minutes doing some strange interlude thing.
Yeah.
Really avant-garde.
Yeah,
it would sound like a cat running across a keyboard. That's track 1.
What's track 2?
I don't know yet. You'll have to wait.
Fair news. I won't hold my breath. It's fine.
It's a 6-minute kazoo solo.
Imagine it. Just one hit of a triangle just left to resonate.
God, the amount of reverb you'd need on that triangle.
Yeah, we'll put some distortion on it as well. It'll be cracking.
Has anyone ever put distortion on a triangle before?
I don't know. Dan, if you're listening, distort a triangle. Let's see what this does.
Distorted triangle.
He will.
He'll do it. In fact, he's probably actually going to blend it in the album somewhere.
Yeah, well, and you have to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you find it, we'll give you a free t-shirt. I'm just saying.
I'll try and find. This is when he hasn't even done it, and I'm sitting there for like hours just playing it on loop and just driving those streaming numbers up just to find it.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Yes, we could do with that 2p from Spotify. Goes a long way. You can get a couple of penny sweets for that.
Can't even get that anymore, can you? Can't even get a Freddo for 10p anymore, I don't think.
Don't even go down the Freddo. I cried last time I wanted a Freddo.
I love that this is the second one of these I've done where the price of a Freddo has been mentioned.
It's
in
a real problem.
In relation to streaming figures.
Amazing.
It's a real concern.
It is a real concern.
It just shows how many people really, really want a Freddo.
Yeah.
Or really, really want to get paid for streaming. You know, one or the other.
No,
So
I
that we
choose a
can-
Freddo.
Yeah.
I'll choose a Freddo right now.
Let's face it, we're not in it for the money. Otherwise, we wouldn't,
Yeah.
If you're in it for the money, good fucking luck, to be honest. You've got to enjoy what you're doing. You've got to have fun. I see it as I'm making music, I'm having fun with my friends, I'm going out, I'm doing what I like to do. And thank God I have a job, otherwise we'd probably be in a dire situation.
Admittedly, I do wake up the next morning after a show and go, oh, what did I do? Why am I doing this still? Why am I doing this?
Yeah, it's because we're old.
We are old.
And I'm still covered in like face paint, and my boss is kind of like, gig last night. I'm like,
You'd think, wouldn't you? But no.
We text each other in the morning after a gig, like who's in pain and where, what hurts.
I think it's more of a case now of what doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You should just keep a tally of what hurts and how many times. And if it starts to get too concerning, just keep going anyway.
Well, it's usually a neck, back, wrist,
Neck.
knees, yeah, occasionally.
I believe my response on after the Cambridge gig was just, I am pain. I am all pain.
Where does it hurt? Yes.
Yes, exactly. Oh, crikey. Just thinking about it's making me...
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, everyone, thanks for watching Riffs, Gigs and Recipes and the perfect colander with your host, Riley, and these pillocks from Scarlet Envy. Check us out on socials and all that jazz. And if you like bands that look like Shit Kiss, come along to a show and we'll try and entertain you, like Robbie Williams, the non-monkey version.